I am only partially decorated today because I deserve to be. Not fully. After last week in the state of North Carolina and many other states on the eastern seaboard, we had a faux gas shortage. There was no gas shortage. We do not in this country run out of fuel overnight like that. What there is a shortage of are responsible media outlets letting you know that. So people heard on the TV box that the pipeline was hacked into, and so they ran out and were filling up left and right. I mean, people were filling up garbage bags, Tupperware containers. I mean, it was lunacy and wasn't necessary. We had plenty of fuel. The actual news story is that somebody sitting in their underwear in Russia is able to hack into a pipeline. Like, where is there not a manual override somewhere on a pipeline? Can we stop? Did somebody were they sharing Netflix passwords and then also the code to get into the pipeline? Where's that news story? But it was crazy. And Bob was on E, more than E, and I had to have friends who work at a construction site who have access to diesel on draft come bring me some in red containers because it was all gone. That's not what this video is about. I'm just saying why I might look like I rolled out of bed today. Just rolled out of bed today. We're going to talk about wire fraud, and this is actually pretty serious. So maybe I should have dressed up in a suit, but you just heard what kind of trauma I had. The kind of trauma where we keep showing terrorists how to cause utter chaos in this country. Just threaten us with a little bit of fuel shortage and off we go. All right, wire fraud, and this happens in all sorts of transactions, but when it happens in real estate, it can be catastrophic. It is catastrophic because of the value that we're transacting, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars, if over $1 million or $2 million, $3 million, $4 million, $5 million. When you get a real estate contract, one of these enormous things, it's in here. I swear it's in here. Here it is. Let me try to protect people's personal information while educating you. Okay, see that? Wire fraud warning. There's a whole, it's in all caps. Then that means it must be important. Page 13 to 15 in the state of North Carolina. Now let me tell you a better story before we talk about the nuts and bolts of this. Once upon a time, here, give me something to read. Once upon a time, there was a fair maiden. Highly intelligent, sparkling personality, great legs. Her name rhymed with Casey Roman. She owned the Babe Cave. She had diplomatic control over a little neighborhood called Carolina Place, and she was the keeper of the Babe Cave. Beautiful, beautiful home. She sold her home. She had buyers. They were absolutely lovely. They were wonderful. Back when real estate was somewhat normal, not now. They were great, and they lived in Colorado, the great land of Colorado. Everything was wonderful. Perfect. And then the day before closing, they sent the fair maiden a text message that said, "We're so excited. All of our stuff is already on moving trucks headed to Wilmington. We're going to move in the same day that we sign. Everything's great, blah, blah, blah." So the fair maiden packs up all her shit and closes down the utilities and moves out, and everything's wonderful. Somewhere, somehow, sometime between pulling out of the driveway in Colorado and arriving at the closing table to buy the Babe Cave, they get an email, and the email is from their lender. The email said, "Congratulations on the purchase of your new home. Here's all your information on your file, and here's the wire instructions, and just go ahead and wire your down payment to us so that when you get here for closing, we have all your paperwork done. Again, congratulations. We're excited to see you, blah, 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 blah." And they wired $100,000 to Ghana. to Ghana. Ghana. Why are people wasting their time actually robbing banks, actually committing crimes, when you can sit in your abode in Ghana and rip someone off for $100,000 just like that with an email? I mean, if you're going to be a criminal, apply yourself. Work hard. Do what they do. Work smarter, not harder. $100,000 is gone. On my end, how this transpires is that I'm assuming that because they're moving in the same day that they're closing, that I should hear something by noon. Well, at noon, I don't hear anything. And I'm getting nervous. Something just doesn't feel right. And then by 3 p.m., I have worn a hole in the carpet in my office going back and forth. By 5 p.m., I am Category 5 Casey Roman. I have made landfall. Power cords are ripping out of walls. It's bad. It's real bad because I know that something is wrong. And it goes dead silent. The next day is July 4th. July 5th, I finally found out what happened, that these people had been robbed of $100,000 and now no one knows what to do. The FBI got involved, which you'd think, like, if police got involved, I'd be thrilled because I love working with them, but not at the sale of my home with $100,000. So it was a mess. It was a train wreck. Ultimately, it somehow resolved itself. I was not privy to any of that information. I'm going to take a wild guess that somebody, either the lender or the bank or somebody, was responsible for checking the wire. But here's the thing about wires. Wires empower people to transact money very, very easily. On a smaller scale, we see this in things like PayPal and Venmo, where people have control over their bank accounts and are able to send money digitally very, very easy. So that's great about wires. It's also terrifying about wires. It resolved itself to some extent. I don't know. We closed on the house. But now we have a whole section in real estate contracts where we talk about wire fraud. And in defense of real estate agents, there is so much that we have to tell you in the 30 to 45 days to close a home that something like this can be skipped over. But the short version of that beautiful fairy tale with the fair maiden, who has great legs and a sparkling personality, is that it does happen. It's a legitimate thing and it continues to happen. And it's really easy to fall prey to, because I have to say, if I had been in my buyer's shoes, I don't know that I would have done anything different. What happened was they got into the email of the lender, or I truly don't really know. I'm assuming it's the lender or the attorney, and they got their files and they copied their names and their account numbers and their addresses, and they built out an email that looked exactly like every single other email that they've been getting. And if you've purchased or sold a home recently, we bombard you with email. There's so much paperwork. So they got something that looked totally normal, and it was from the individual who they had been working with, because they went into their sent folder and they took all that data from the sent folder and they pushed out an email from the sent folder. So it wouldn't have come in the inbox of the person who was hacked. They did it very surreptitiously. That is a big, sexy word that makes me sound smart. It means like on the sneaky squirrel. Get it? That's how that went down. So it is very important to be aware of, as you are going through a real estate transaction, that this sort of thing does happen. And so if you get any instructions, and we're pretty adamant about it now, but again, there's a lot to think about and things move fast, that any instructions for a wire, that you call your agent, you call the lawyer, you call the lender, you ask everybody involved, you call the bank and say, is this correct? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And preferably, if it was me, I would have my behind sitting in a bank, in my bank, and let them manage the wire versus you go on your online banking or anything like that and you do it. I'd much rather have several layers of responsibility and accountability and lawyers between me and the wire to make sure that that was actually done correctly. So it's a super serious thing. Obviously my transaction, a lot of money was on the line, but there are cases in North Carolina and elsewhere where it was way more money than that, like over more than $800,000. So it's a big deal. So be very conscious of that. Now, to my people, when you get an email from me that says, Hey, drag ass. How about sending those documents back to me signed sometime this century? That is not, despite what you may think, that is not me being cruel. No. That is our secret code, because no terrorist, crazy as they may be, is going to think that a licensed professional, a real estate agent, would ever talk to their clients like that. So that is us communicating. That is like in baseball, right? That's our code. I am protecting you. You're welcome. You drag ass.